Welcome back, everyone. Another week of 52 Weeks of Gaming here. And this week I decided to do a game that was just released and one that I was really looking forward to in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The game itself is a direct sequel to the 2015 game, Ori and the Blind Forest, and it follows the same idea of being a platform adventure game developed by Moon Studios, published by Xbox Game Studios, and so therefore it's only on Xbox as of right now. Maybe, who knows down the line how it goes, but it's on Xbox and Windows, and as I said, it's a direct sequel, and so a game like Ori and the Blind Forest, which I have played before for 52 Weeks of Gaming and absolutely loved, I was curious to see how this game would go, and it was pretty surprising again. It was really nice to jump back into it and get into this whole world that was created, and you have this overall like booming voice for the narrator to talk about like this path and this history, and it really picks up right when Ori and the Blind Forest ended with no, I guess spoilers, but like Koro's death and like one of her eggs surviving, and Ori decides to go and like take care of it, and they go in and hatches, and it's Ku, this tiny little owl that has a damaged wing, and it goes through this whole story in this new land, and obviously a new spirit tree and all of that, but it's the pretty much more of the same in that sense for being like the first one, with some new mechanics involving sand and water and how to go and traverse them, because you got to make things unique. But the game always amazes me just because of the overall art style, just how it flows, the overall story that it tells is always something that's just, I want to say, beautiful and nice and peaceful and sad all at the same time. Definitely sad. This game loves going and making people sad, but there's so much to it and so much fun to be had with it, and so much you can go and do with it. Because before I fully jump back into full details, I mean, there's an achievement that is for completing the game in under 4 hours. Like, you only put that in there if you're expecting people to go and speedrun it. And the other game outside of this series that this all reminds me of is Celeste. And just in terms of how Celeste plays, and the idea that like you could really optimize how you move through it and do a speed run for it and all of that. And it's a really gripping story for it. So going and playing it for the story first time and going through and seeing this adventure, and I don't want to spoil because of how new it is exactly how the game ends, but I didn't really see it coming, because just how, I want to say, out of left field, because it made sense, but it was something that I didn't fully expect. And considering how the first one ended, I was kind of surprised how the second one did, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen from here. I don't know where it's going to go. You have all these new characters, new abilities, all these side quests to go and do, and it's a typical, I want to say, platform adventure in that sense, that you think of it, it's commonly referred to as like the Metroidvania style, just because of how the game itself is laid out, but it's a lot of fun. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it, except for all the parts where I died repeatedly due to the darkness in the Mallwood Depths area. So that is my own doing there, you know, and somehow survived a water level. But hey, that's maybe because it's a 2D water level and not really the typical 3D water level that I was able to get through it. Small steps. But it was Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the Blind Forest were always big for their art and their sceneries and backgrounds and just the environments themselves and how everything looks and the sound for everything with the soundtrack. It's always so soothing and calm for that, but really builds up into these intense moments with the villain in this one, Shriek. And when you learn about Shriek's backstory, and it's like, oh, I don't hate this villain anymore. Same thing with Ori and the Blind Forest. I was like, oh, Koro's a bad guy, bad girl. And then you find out Koro's backstory and you're just like, oh, I can't agree with anything like going and fighting her. But it's just how the story is written without being written, because there's not many like visual, it's all visual I should say, there's not many like spoken lines in that sense. I just don't know. It's something that I can't really go on to put into words just how nice this game is. It's so much fun to go through. It really doesn't take that much time to go through overall and do it. And even I know I didn't complete it all the way. I only did like 70%, but still it took me like 9 hours altogether, which is still a good amount of time for a game and plenty of things to go back into. And I think it's something that anyone who's definitely played the first one should go and play, and people should play this one if they played the first one. And if they want to play something like a platform adventure game, I'd tell them to go and play the first one, just because story-wise it makes sense, and the first game is fantastic, and this one follows suit. And so they definitely should go and play both games in the series, because they're a lot of fun. So it's kind of like a review for both, but really just the second one for this. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic game, and I don't know if I'm going to go back and try doing it faster. I didn't try to go and do that with Ori and the Blind Forest. Will of the Wisps would be a similar thing, and I just don't really have that in me. Maybe that will be one of the 12 months of challenges, just trying to go and beat it either under the 4 hours or without a death or something. Maybe both. Who knows? But yeah, I think Ori and the Will of the Wisps easily has the potential to, depending on what else comes out this year, to win some awards and win maybe Game of the Year or something along those lines. So we'll wait and see how that goes, but I think everyone should go and play it.